Support for Wits comes from an excited Labrador puppy who urges you to throw the ball, the ball, the ball, the ball, the ball, throw the ball, or the stick, the stick, the stick, the stick, throw the stick, the stick, the stick, throw it, throw it. And from Sensible Glue, because when things you care about break, who better to trust? It's not like you'd trust some crazy glue. And from Cursive Writing, a skill that will always come in useless. Support for Wits provided by artichokes, the food that isn't worth the effort. And by the MacArthur Sarcastic Genius Grant Foundation, providing grants for geniuses all the dumb time. Way to go, genius, you got a grant. Not really. Support for Wits also comes from rotisserie chicken, perfect for when you want to eat something the exact same size and shape as a newborn baby. Support for Wits comes from Arcade Fire. Not the band, just an actual fire we set in an arcade. Once those video game machines all melt, we's gonna steal them quarters and pay for our show. Additional support from Plain Bagels, which would like to take this moment to announce that, yes, they are total bull. And from Monday Night Football, which asks, are you ready for some conflicted feelings about being a tacit supporter of the systematic maiming of human beings in the name of entertainment? Support for Wits provided by Alec Baldwin, who can't help noticing that you're not Alec Baldwin. Pity. And from the Jonas Brothers, who announced that after 8 years, yes, they have broken up as a band. But they invite you to wonder how long you would have lasted as a band with your siblings and doubt it would be 8 years. Support for Wits comes from CPR, which stands for Creedence Pulmonary Revival, John Fogerty's new bluegrass-based life-saving procedure. Can anyone perform CPR? John Fogerty can. And from the new movie Hannibal Montannibal, starring Anthony Hopkins and Miley Cyrus in their most famous roles. Coming soon to nowhere. Additional funding provided by grapefruits, the food nobody likes. Grapefruits. There's not enough sugar in the world. Grapefruits, when you want something worse than nothing for breakfast. Grapefruits. Eat them when you feel you've done something terrible. Grapefruits. Start your morning off with an unpleasant experience. Grapefruits. Larger than an orange, worse than everything. Support for Wits comes from Yoko Ono brand chewing tobacco. Imagine 1,000 clouds, pull them down and dance with them. Now grind them with your dreams until they fit in your hands, then place them between your cheek and gum. Spit ghosts. And from Rick Astley's Rickrolling Transportation Service. Never gonna pick you up, never gonna drop you off, never gonna drive around to meet you. It's not a very good transportation service. Additional support provided by Harry Reid, by which we mean the Senate Majority Leader, not the unpleasant surprise when you go to play a clarinet. Funding for Wits comes from the one little piggy who ate roast beef. Yes, that weird pig who looked across the barnyard at a cow and said, "I'ma eat you. I'ma eat you up, cow. I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna eat that beef." And then one day he totally did. Additional support from the war on drugs, because there's no better way to fight a war. We get special funding from cauliflower. When you're in the mood for something that looks like brains and tastes like paper, try cauliflower. Cauliflower, your salad just got worse. Cauliflower, an actual flower would taste better. Cauliflower, an actual collie would taste better. Cauliflower, God called, he said don't eat that garbage. Cauliflower, the bleached corpse that once was broccoli. Cauliflower, When you're out of old socks to eat, it will have to do. Cauliflower. Go to hell, mouth. Support for Wits comes from Johnstown brand Bruce Springsteen kits. Got some engine grease and some breakfast cereal? Now you can build your own Bruce Springsteen. And from the upcoming sequel to Paul Blart Mall Cop, it's called Blol Nard Gralblop. Additional funding provided by Kraft Acrimony and Cheese for when you want a meal that's quick and spiteful. Support for Wits comes from the new book by Ed Asner, Tommy Lee Jones, and Wilford Brimley, How to Look Roughly the Same Age for the Past 40 Years. Additional funding provided by the Tourism Board for the City of Los Angeles. Ever want to see a city with twice as many small dogs as humans? Visit Los Angeles. Support also comes from caffeine-free Diet Coke, the beverage of choice when your life has become some sort of sick, weird charade. Support for Wits comes from CVS drugstores, which recently announced it would stop selling all tobacco products in all stores, saying such products are inconsistent with the company's mission to help people be healthy. CVS, gummy worms on aisle 6. And from parades. Do you like standing alongside a street and watching other people walk down the street? Then try a parade. We also get support from the new album by William Howard Taft Punk, featuring the single We're Up All Night to Strengthen the Interstate Commerce Commission. Additional funding provided by Canadian Fonzie. Support for Wits comes from Rick's Sushi, home of the Rickroll. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around, and desserts such as green tea ice cream. And from the Institution of Photography, which would like to announce that pictures of other people will now be called otheries, and the ones we know as selfies will just be called pictures. Additional funding comes from SpaghettiOs. Never has there been a more apt nor honest slogan than, uh-oh. And from a pot-smoking kite, dude is high. Support for Wits comes from sunsets. To sunsets, you're beautiful. And from hats. The tippy tops of heads are disgusting. They're God's mistakes. Hats fix that. Hats. Support for Wits comes from Major League Baseball, which has seen the publicity given to openly gay NBA player Jason Collins and openly gay NFL prospect Michael Sam. Major League Baseball, quick, we need to get our hands on a strong gay man. Also, we never thought we'd say that in public. What? We get additional funding from Justin Bieber, the monster we're all chasing down with torches and pitchforks before we realize that he is the very monster we created in our own secret laboratory where we took a Canadian boy and injected him with 1,000,000 volts of fame. Oh, my sweet lad, my only son, you are consumed by fire. Justin Bieber. Support for Wits comes from the phrase, that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's the perfect thing to keep in mind if you're working out in a gym full of cobras. Additional support provided by Ryan Gosling, who would like you to admit that he's a pretty good actor for a Gosling. Additional funding from Robert Crapplethorpe's, a restaurant that serves crepes and features several controversial black and white erotic photos of crepes. Support for Wits comes from Tatooine Furniture, makers of the Sarlacc sofa, the only sofa that will digest you over the course of 1,000 years and excrete you as a pile of change in a TV remote. Now with an add-on ottoman with tentacles. We get additional funding from LinkedIn Logs, the building toy for kids that helps them assemble an online employment profile, count number of connections made, and never actually get hired for anything. And from the David Lee Roth IRA, if saving for retirement has your back against the record machine, might as well jump to a non-taxed fund. Reach down in between my legs and enjoy the flexible tax structure. Woo-woo! Ow! Woo! Support for Wits comes from the 10,000-calorie malted mocha meltdown from Starbucks. No cup can hold it, no human can drink it. Starbucks is required by law not to serve it to you. We get additional funding from A Dog's Mouth. Cleaner than a human's mouth, but still don't keep anything in there. It's a dog's mouth. And we get additional support from Underoos. Not the kids' underwear, just the underside of kangaroos. Support for Wits comes from David Foster Wallace and Gromit, the strange and somewhat disturbing new claymation cartoon. Additional support provided by Cookies for Breakfast, because shut up is why. And by Conspiracy Theories, giving the world the gentle comfort that there is an order and plan to the way things happen. And by Religion, giving the world the gentle comfort that there is an order and plan to the way things happen. Support for Wits comes from the all-new animated feature from the makers of Tangled and Frozen. This one is called Trapped in a Partially Collapsed Basement. It's great songs. We get additional support from Your Regrets, which just want to say they'll see you at the regular time tonight, just as you're trying to go to sleep. They're punctual. You got to give them that. Support also comes from a toddler walking into a room while wearing sunglasses and Bad to the Bone plays because, look out, what's he gonna do? Support for Wits comes from Fiberglass Guthrie, the lightweight, durable alternative to Woody Guthrie. And from UPS, which thinks this spot right here in the middle of a busy road looks like a perfect place to park doot-do-doot-do-do. We get additional funding from Sporks and the new athletic version of Sporks, Sporks. They come in a smaller version too, Sporks Shorts. Of course, a new version of that has been designed by Leonard Nimoy and Robin Williams as a tribute to their iconic TV characters, marketed to socially awkward people and endorsed by the Swedish chef.
What's that called, John?
I'm glad you asked. Dork Sports Shorts by Spock and Mork, Bork. Support for Wits comes from former Pope Benedict, still alive with time on his hands and available for freelance pope work. Need a little poping done around the house? Pope up some drywall, pope those weeds out back, pope the carpets, call him. And from Kites, got a free afternoon? Want to disappoint children? Love getting frustrated? Want to waste some money? Kites! We get additional funding from John Hodgman Incorporated. At JHI, we're glad you're happy with the standard John Hodgman model, which can be counted on to be highly educated, clever, and self-effacingly pompous. But if standard Hodgman is too Yaley, try the all-new dumb guy John Hodgman. Instead of arch-witty humor, he says things like,
I gave my money to a cow, but he broke it.
And?
Here's 100 people named Jeff. There's old Jeff, the other Jeff, and that's all the Jeffs I can think of.
And how about this line of patented dumb guy John Hodgman wit?
Oh yeah, my head got stuck in the vending machine again on account as I was bobbing for Fritos.
Dumb Guy John Hodgman. Also available in Diet Dumb Guy John Hodgman.
Home run!
Support for Wits comes from school. Are you an average child who never needs attention in any way? Then school is for you. And from birds who think it's time for you to wake up. After all, it's 4 a.m. and we're birds and we have nothing better to do but sit outside your window and scream. We get additional funding from Gloria Estefan, or if you translate her name from Latin, Glorious Steve. Support for Wits comes from Tilda Swinton brand toothpaste for when you want your teeth to be beautiful but vaguely unsettling in some way. And from Community Theater. Having an affair? Need a cover? Join Community Theater. And from Hamburglar's new autobiography, Robble. We get additional funding from Heather's Leather Tetherballs, makers of the weatherproof leather tetherball, the pleather tetherball, and the feather tetherball, a tetherball with feathers in leather or pleather. Heather's Leather Tetherballs, making tetherballs altogether better.